We are here on D1.1 DNA Replication Part 1. Here are the two guiding questions that you must keep in your mind as we go along with information, knowing these two questions and be able to answer them fully. So the first one is, how is the new DNA produced? And the second question is, how has knowledge of DNA replication enabled applications in the biotechnology? So in this particular video, we're going to look at the DNA replication as a production of exact copies of DNA in identical base sequence. We're going to talk about the semi-conservative nature of DNA replication and the role of the complementary base pairings when it comes to this situation. We're going to talk about the role of Helicase and DNA Polymerase, which are the two enzymes that works in the DNA replication. So by the end of this video, these are the things that you will know. First, describe the meaning of semi-conservative in relation to the DNA replication. Explain the role of the complementary base pairing in the DNA replication. Outline the two functions of the helicase. State the role of DNA replication. Describe the movement of DNA polymerase along the DNA template strand. And describe the actions of DNA polymerase 3 in pairing nucleotides during DNA replication and the complementary base roles in it. So with that, before we can start, let's understand and remind ourselves about the DNA structure. If you remember, the DNA structure is made of two strands. And these two strands are wrapped around each other because their nitrogen bases are connecting through hydrogen bond. Now, obviously, whenever you want to do a DNA replication, you will have to open these two strands. Now, the question is, why do we have to do DNA replication? Obviously, one of them is to make sure that the information is passed on from generation to generation, and that is through reproduction. And the second one is sometimes you want to create new cells because you want these cells to repair a certain part of your body. But you cannot just make a new cell without giving that DNA away. You have to make a copy to give that copy away. So that's why there's two reasons why you need DNA replication. One of them is for reproduction. A second thing is for growth and basically repairing of any tissues in your body. Now, whenever we talk about DNA replication, it's important that we talk about base pairing. When we talk about base pairing, we'll talk about the nitrogen bases. We're talking about the A, T, C, and G and how they are connected. Because if you know one of the strands, you will know the second strands. For instance, if you have an A on a strand, obviously you will know that the other strand will have a T. And if you have a G in one strand, then obviously you will know there's a C on another strand. So the complementary base is a very key important information that you must write every time in your essays when you talk about DNA replication. So here, just for you to see in this picture, making more sense, usually you will have the old strand as blue here, and you have the red as a new strand. Now, if you have the old strands, such as the T, C, C, A, G, C, A, C, you automatically can produce a new strand by just knowing exactly the complementary base. So, for example, A with T, G with C, T with A, C with G, G with C, T with A, and G, C. And if you do this with the bottom one here, A with T, A to C, you will notice that it's the same story. Now, if you look at the overall, you will see that T with A, here T with A, T with A, C with G, C with G. You will notice that you have two exact copies of DNA, all because we're working on the complementary base, reminding that A always goes with T and G will always go with C. Besides that, when you are creating that DNA structure, you always have to break them into two pieces. So as in reminding structures here, you always have the sugar and the phosphates here going from 3 to 5. And on the other side, you have the 5 to 3 of a sugar and phosphates. Now, we know that DNA is anti-parallel. So obviously, you're going to have to build the two sides of it. Now, what's important in the DNA replication, it is the connection that is happening right in the middle, which is the hydrogen bond that is connecting between the A and the T and the G and C. This is a part right here in the middle that is actually going to be opened up, and then you will create an extra two strands on both cases, reminding that this will be the old template and this will be known as the old template, and then within them you have the two new templates, new strands. Now, when you're doing the DNA replication, you always need to know that there is two enzymes that is extremely important. The first one is the helicase. This enzyme is the one who's going to basically separate the two DNA strands. And the only way that they can separate those two strands is by breaking the hydrogen bonds that is happening between the A, T, and C's and G's. That means right in the middle of the DNA strand. Now, these hydrogen bonds, once they are broken, then now these two strands are fully exposed so that the next enzyme that it comes into consideration is the DNA polymerase 3. The DNA polymerase 3 is the enzyme that is actually going to read the old template. They're going to read the template. For example, you might read the letter A in the old template. And once he reads that, then he knows that he has to go around and look for that T that will connect with the A. And he will read the next part of the template and then go find the next nitrogen base. And that's what the polymerase is doing. It's just reading the template and creating the new strand that will bind to that template. So one way to do this is obviously looking for free nucleotides. But when we say free nucleotides, there's a specific name for that. We call it triphosphate, in this case, nucleosides. When I say nucleosides, that means they have extra phosphates, and these phosphates have energy. So when they are attaching, they will lose those phosphates, and that energy that is lost through the phosphate is used to attach the nucleotide to the new strand. So the DNA polymerase 3, what is it doing? It's reading the template, but it's also taking two excess phosphates from the free nucleotides, and that way joining the nucleotide to the new strand. So here I'm just going to show you an example through the drawings for you to see what I'm talking about orally here. So we have a DNA that is usually, if you know it like this, it's basically a DNA strand that is double helix and is fully connected already. But if I want to open it, then the first thing is I have to get a helicase somewhere here. So I'm going to use the little circle here to note as the helicase. So the helicase will be binding. Now it can be opening any part of the DNA. So when it's opening the DNA, let's say it's going to open in this direction, then this is what's going to happen is that you're going to have DNA open like this, right? And then you have this. And then again, you have it closed up and going like this. So what the helicase was doing here? The helicase was opening it. Now, what did it do? It broke down those hydrogen bonds. So again, it's important to remember the hydrogen bonds here. Who are the hydrogen bonds? So for example, when you had A connected to a T and a G connected to a C, and then you maybe have an A with a T and a G with a C, right? So Helicase, what it did is just went around and just broke all those hydrogen bonds and separated those two strands. So you can see here that you have one of the old templates here and the other old template here. That means the strands have been separated. And you can also do this in the opposite direction. You can have a helicase going in this direction and open the other side of the DNA. When it's doing this, let's say we have here A, T, C, C, G. So that means here will be T, A, G, G, C. So you can see these are two end templates. The next process in here will definitely be that you will get DNA polymerase 3. So writing down here, DNA polymerase 3. So this enzyme is the one who first thing is going to do is look at this A and read. Oh, it's an A. So what do I need to do? Oh, I need to find a nucleotide that is a T. So I'm just going to erase the here, so give a space here. So now that means I'm going to search for a nucleotide T. If you remember, the nucleotide is made of a phosphate sugar and a sugar here, right? And then it has a nitrogen base. That nitrogen base must be a T, but it's not found like this. You actually find it a free nucleotide in the nucleus around cytoplasm with an additional of 2 phosphates, because these are phosphates, phosphates, and phosphates, and this is a sugar, right? So when a nucleotide is free, those 2 extra phosphates that you see here will be cut from the nucleotide as a way to use the energy. Who does the cutting? DNA polymerase 3. He will cut these 2 guys out, and by doing this, energy here will be released, and then you can attach this right here. So you have attached the T to an A. And then the DNA polymerase will read the next one, which you can see it's a T, so that means the next one must be A, and it can build up the other ones. So this is what it's doing in one side of the strand, but it can also do on the second side of the strand. And it reads here, so this will be A, this will be T, a C, and a G. So what are you doing? You eventually are creating this strand here and that strand. So in the end, when you go through the entire DNA, you will have created the 2 new strands. As I can see here, this blue and this purple strands here are the new strands that are being created by reading the old strands, which are here the black ones. So that's how DNA replication happens to create those 2 copies. Now, it's important to understand that this comes to the idea of semi-conservative. The word semi here means half, and the word conservative means somehow you're still conserving something that is old. So for instance here, you can see that this is a blue line and this is a red line. These are known as the old strands. That means that's the part of being conservative. And of course, when you go to the process of DNA replication, you're going to have to create 2 new strands. When you're creating those 2 new strands, they are going to be completely new, and that means in this case, they're not going to be used as the old. That's why you can see here that the transparent line here, or the white line here, these are the completely new strands. So in this case, that will be known as the new strand, and these are the old strands because they're coming from the old DNA. So there's where the semi comes, halfway conservative. The halfway conservative is the old that is still here, and the other half that is supposed to be new will be the new strands that are here. That's why DNA replication is known as semi-conservative. So this is pretty much it for the summary of DNA replications. We actually describe the process of semi-conservative, understanding there is always an old and a new strand coming out for the new DNA. So that means, remember, there's 2 DNA. Each one will have an old strand with a new strand. We also talk about the importance of complementary base pairing. That means there's always A was going to go with T and G will always go with the C. And because they always goes that way, it's easy for the DNA polymerase to know what is the next nucleotide because it's always the same complementary base. We talk about the enzyme Helicase and how it works in the process of DNA replication. We also say why we need a DNA replication, and we also talk about DNA polymerase 3, how we're using nucleotides and changing nucleotides from free to actually attached by taking those phosphate groups. So this is pretty much it for DNA replication part 1. Now we're going to go for the next video, which is also about DNA replication part 2. But remember, when there be, you can get the 7. I'll see you on the next video. Take care.